this release that we're going to talk about, the voices of the heroes, did pretty well this first week. Sold,
200,000 tracking right now.
yeah, it's crazy, and this is a much better drop than Lil Durk or Lil Baby have had on their own. So there's potentially something there in terms of numbers, but this this wasn't a album I had initially planned on listening to, but Dave, I really trust you to lead me in the right direction with these rappers that I'm trying to keep up with. And this wasn't necessarily an album I was super thrilled with after listening to it. Uh, Tell me about Lil Baby and Lil Durk. What intrigued you about this album?
Yeah, it's not so much that I was intrigued. It was more so just that Little Baby and Little Dirk have never been more popular than they are at this very moment. And obviously we've talked about both of them in passing because they've just been featured at nauseum, right? Little Baby made a lot of noise last year with My Turn, an
Mhm.
album I thought was really hit or miss, but definitely had some highs. Like I think his best song probably ever is Emotionally Scarred off that. And of course, We Paid is a great banger off the deluxe with 42 Doug. And then Dirk, probably even more surprising because Dirk has been rapping probably more than twice as long as Little Baby has. Like he's more popular now and he's like been like actively like well known nationally for I don't know 9 years almost. Like it's been a long time for Lil Durk, and now he's the hottest, second hottest artist in Chicago alongside Polo G. It's quite the come up, you know. Like if you told me, like I'm like I think just the introduction for many people outside Chicago was way back. You know, I was like, oh, if you like Chief Keef and Chicago drill, check
Yeah.
out these artists like Fredo Santana, Little
Mhm.
Reese, and Little Durk. And it's like, huh. I remember the time I was not very thrilled with Little Durk, you know, and looking back, I guess his use of autotune, his kind of melodic trappy ways was a little bit ahead of the curve in
Mhm.
2012, to be honest. But to think that he's leagues bound more famous and popular than Chief Keef is today, it's a crazy thing. I never would have thought it would have happened at the time. Um, and his album, we didn't talk about his last album because it came out on Christmas Eve last year, so that's kind of a
Tough
non-starter
time
for
for us. Yeah.
for us to review something. Um, and it was his most successful project to date. And I think the song "Still Trapping" with the late King Von, one of his close friends, is a highlight there. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a victory lap album. But I was surprised to actually see it so soon. Little Baby and Little Dirk just kind of putting something together and throwing it out there, and you can tell by the tracking it's being well received, well consumed anyway. But yeah, I mean, my criticisms of both of them as artists kind of have just flowed into this collab album with them. I don't think this really should change anyone's opinion, whether they're positive or negative. I think it just kind of does more of what those guys do, which is to me kind of generic trap. And
Yeah.
I think Little Baby in particular, kind of falls into like a monotonous delivery at times. At least Dirk seems to have like more energy in his vocals. That stands out to me a little bit more, but there's so many tracks too. It's like so many of them are just in
Mhm.
one ear out the other. It's I think it's I think even the biggest fans probably just like you take the songs you like off this and you don't think about the other ones ever again. Really.
Right. Yeah, I think that was the thing is when we decided we were gonna listen to this, I clicked onto it. I was like, oh, let's see, probably like 20 minutes, maybe 25, get like a nice short album. No, this is now an hour. I was like, okay, we're doing it. Um and it's uh, I wouldn't say this is like a necessarily bad. It's just I think a little bit redundant, a little bit uninteresting. Um, I think the moments I really liked were songs that were much more like either relying on that like heavy bass kind of like trap sound, or that were like upbeat and kind of like in that mold of Chance, kind of
Mhm.
like uh when it was uh, I don't know. There's some songs that I could never not tell you the difference for you because it's just like the same production, same
Yeah,
tricks over and over, and it
I
just
think
kind of blends together.
the beats in general are quite lackluster to me, which is kind of surprising. Like you would think
Mm.
Quality Control and whoever Dirk signed to would be like Universal. I think you think they'd be more invested in a budget here. Like
Hmm.
apart from I think the How It Feel beat stood out to me for kind of reminding me of a How It Feels reminded me of like a xylophone. Like I don't know, just kind of a
Yep.
unique cadence to that beat. But other than that, like nothing really stood out to me. And I think these are guys that really need strong production too, because lyrically they're not ambitious, and which is so funny to me because all the love Little Baby got last year is like so many people are talking about his bars. And like, yeah, both of them, Dirk and Baby, they rap like they put words together. They're
Yeah.
not mumble rappers, you know, like they are competent at rapping. But like I
Hmm.
saw a lot of people like really trumpeting like their lyricism, and like I just never could get there. Like even the Bigger Picture, multiple Grammy nominations, performed it at the Grammys. Listen to the actual words of the song, and it's just a both sides protest song. There's no substance to it. And again, I don't need Little Baby to give me substance. I'll listen to Yes Indeed and Emotionally Scarred all the time. And I guess there's substance to that one, but like this, like you would think, like I wish there was something that like even banged a little bit more. Like there's nothing close to We Paid on this, you know. Like it's just
No.
it's just generic, which is unfortunate. But it's kind of how I feel about a lot of lower effort comes across anyway. Atlanta stuff, you know, it's just not that, doesn't feel special to me.
Yeah. It doesn't feel special, but you do get some big um guest verses on this or some moments. Any of those stand out? Any of those add anything for you?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Rod Wave shows up at the end. He's still sad, in case you didn't know. Um, I'd say Travis on Hats Off probably stood out to me the most because it was
Yeah.
more old school, early Travis style of performance from him. That also had, I think, one of the more funny lines for me from Little Baby. Dirk the voice, he know what to say. I'm the hero. I come save the day. I was just wondering, like, where did like the voice and hero nicknames come from for these two dudes, which I believe they bestowed on themselves because you would think the guy who made the Bigger Picture would call himself the voice. And Little Dirk, one of his biggest songs ever, one of his my favorite songs of his is called Neighborhood Hero. But no, they cross these paths. I guess whatever, man. It ain't that deep.
Um, well, my understanding of the nicknames is that they somehow come from childhood, but I don't know if that's necessarily true. Like Dirk says, the voice is a childhood nickname. I don't know if that's true,
If
but
you say so.
sure. Yeah, overall pretty forgettable. I agree. Travis is probably my favorite feature. Yeah. Uh, I guess "Hats Off" might be the track we put on the playlist.
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe.
I'll still be checking for what they're doing just because the guys are so hot right now, you know. But I mean, just personally to me, like I know Little Baby, people love Little Baby. He's so many people's favorite rapper right now. But like when I compare him to other similar artists like Travis or Uzi, Thug, like he's just so much Migos. Like he just doesn't come close to the highs of those artists for me. Um, but other people he does. So good for them. They're very successful at this time.
We got that Migos single last week.
Album this Friday. Very excited.
Here we go.
And Polo G's
Um,
second album as well. So the King Chicago title run for Dirk, short lived, if you ask me.
Big stuff happening this weekend in the rap world. So we're looking forward to next week's pod talking music.